Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the morning show right here on Main Street TV, where it is we're all mixed up today, Pete, because you're first.
I'm first, and there's a reason for that. We'll get to that, okay?
Okay. If you're not first, you're last.
Right, and you always read something into the red shirt. You need to read something into the blue in this time.
Well, I was going to ask you about your beautiful blue shirt, because that's not one that I see every day.
Right, okay.
It's fancy.
Well, it's Child Abuse Prevention Month, and they have a Wear Blue Day.
Gotcha.
There is a certain day of the month, but I think that color goes for the whole month. So
I didn't get the memo. I'm sorry, Pete.
right, that is okay. You look good in stripes too.
Ooh, I don't know if that's a good thing.
Oh yes. No, not those kind of stripes.
Okay.
Okay, designer stripes.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're going to start off, Jennifer, going a little bit more in depth on really what has been a major news story, and will continue to be, even though it may go behind the scenes for a while. But that is the announced closing of the Pixel Specialty Solutions paper mill in Chillicothe, which we still often refer to as the Mead plant, because it was Mead for so long.
Yeah.
Different owners there after Mead sold out in the last 20 years or so, and I didn't even know it was called the Pixel Specialty Solutions paper mill plant, but that is its name, and it's still there. But the question is, how long will it be there? Mm-hmm. Just roll the tape back a little bit. Bad news announced a week ago today, as a matter of fact.
Wow.
That the plant, which has 826 fairly good-paying jobs, was going to close in phases immediately, and would probably be completely closed by June. All right, big deal, of course. Very big deal in Chillicothe and Ross County, but still crucial also in surrounding counties where there are employees who commute there to work. They scheduled a press conference. Some high-ranking public officials, federal, state, and local, scheduled a press conference on Friday to try to, assure the employees that they weren't happy about the situation. They were going to try to do something about it, and also here's how we can help you. A lot of that too. The same morning of that press conference, which was last Friday, by the way, Friday at 11:30. At the Homeland Credit Union parking lot, which is across the street from the big Mead plant, or Pixel plant, sorry. So they had a press conference at 11:30, but on that same morning, United States Senator Bernie Moreno, he just started his new term. He was elected there in, he's been in there, a little bit, about three or 4 months now. He was elected in 2024 over Sherrod Brown, remember. Mm-hmm. He made a call to the CEO and president of the private equity firm that owns the Pixel Solutions specialty plant. And he laid him out, so as to speak.
I guess.
He released a letter that was on U.S. Senate letterhead, letting everybody know that he was very displeased with, and he called him out and didn't mince words. He called him on the phone that same morning to raise hell, and he got a second call less than a half hour later. This is all on Friday morning, from that executive, who then said, "We will keep the plant open through the end of the year." It's supposed to close at the end of the year, but instead of June, it'll be the end of the year. That was the concession that was raised. So that press conference, and it was attended, I'm guessing, 200 to 300 people.
A lot of people there.
Many employees, by the way, because it was Good Friday on top of everything else. It turned more into a rally than it did a press conference, more of a somber press conference. Hey, we're sorry, we're going to do what we can. We do care about you, whatever. But there was United States Senator Bernie Moreno there. There was United States Senator John Husted there. There was Congressman David Taylor there. There was Governor Mike DeWine there.
You had some serious people there.
Yeah, and this was at short notice, too. Some of the left there, thank you for putting that up, Adrian. You have United States Senator Bernie Moreno. You have United States Senator John Husted. You have Governor Mike DeWine. You have Congressman David Taylor, who represents our congressional district. And on the end there, that is Dave Yost, who is the Ohio Attorney General, who is one of the candidates for Ohio governor, by the way, in 2026.
Okay.
So they were all there they all spoke, as well as a veteran employee who I don't know whether he's a union officer or not, but he'd worked there for 37 years, and he was chosen to be the speaker for the union. So there was those 6 speakers, basically. But anyway.
Are those union jobs?
Most of them are union jobs. But there are also, of course, white-collar jobs in there, too, that extremely high paying for this area.
Okay.
I mean, it's always been that way. It's good blue-collar and white-collar jobs there.
Okay.
But anyway, Bernie Marino was the first to speak, and he was able to give them the good news, although it had gotten out that morning anyway. But he was able to give them the good news that officially the plant will stay open through December. In the meantime, state, federal, local, economic development people will do all they can to do one of 2 things: convince Pixel and its ownership to stay there, or after they're out, in the meantime, before they're out, find somebody else to run that plant, or put something else in that plant. You know, I'm not sure how complicated that would be, but somehow preserve jobs in that plant.
Right.
And that's what they're going to be working on immediately, and hopefully before December something more good will happen. But you know, if suddenly you learn, and everybody said this to me, Jennifer, everybody was surprised that this happened. Everybody was
just
surprised.
came out of left field.
So if you're rolling along and you're pretty happy and you're getting pretty well paid, and then suddenly you're told that you're going to be out of a job by June, maybe before, that is a shock.
Yeah.
And it's a shock whether you're a young employee who was counting on that for your career. It's maybe more of a shock if you work there for 2 or 3 decades. You know, you're not ready to retire, and suddenly the job's not there anymore.
Right.
So it was a major thing, and so we will see what happens. But we'll have a big story in Wednesday's paper with comments from the speakers. And, you know, the bottom line is, I'll tell you what Marino said. Marino and John Husted said the same thing, and I suppose it would be affirmed by a lot of the other public officials too. They felt like this was a greed thing, where the private equity firm, you know, that's the owner, they're not in the paper business, they're in the money-making business.
Sure.
Own this, and they're shutting it down for financial gain.
I was going to ask
Even though there's a lot of pain in the rearview mirror after it's done.
How was I never heard this. How was the announcement made that they were going to close this plant? Did Pixel just do a press conference, news release?
Oh no, they're not going to do a news conference in front of anybody. They put out a press release on Tuesday morning.
And just didn't bother to tell anyone.
I'm not sure what they did internally, so I'm not going to judge that.
That is so strange.
But the word, the general public heard about it in a news release that was released Tuesday morning. You know, I'm not on the list, but you know, of course, it was floating out there in internet land pretty quickly.
But what did they say in their press release?
They are. It was definitely corporate gooky. It was. They said that they needed to. The times have changed, and they need to align their operation with their business model. Meaning that they'd be more efficient to consolidate and move the operations that they are doing at Chillicothe to their main, or to their headquarters plant, which is in Spring Grove, Pennsylvania. So it's basically a consolidation move.
Okay.
That they felt would be more efficient and better long-term for the company. And by the way, we're sorry that this is happening. The decision was not made lightly. It was made quickly.
Yeah, I guess.
But it wasn't made lightly.
I'm wondering, though, if Bernie Marino and some other politicians were able to obviously write some strongly worded things or have a strongly worded conversation with somebody and got such quick results that maybe there could be a negotiation to keep this thing open. Because it sounds like they backpedaled quite quickly.
Right. You know, I think it's something, when somebody makes that decision, and the Marino blamed the private equity firm. Let's see, what was the name of that private equity? It was AIG. Let me look this up here. It was It was HIG Capital out of Florida, I think. That's the name of the private equity company. And then the company itself is Pixel Specialty Solutions out of Pennsylvania. And Marino blamed both the private equity leader, top executive, that's who he talked to on the phone, and the CEO and president of Pixel, who was out in front. He was the one quoted in the press release and like that. But here's what Marino said. We've got this private equity company to agree to hold off on the closing of the facility until December 31st of this year. That's going to give us months to find a strategic buyer who's willing to invest in the people. First and foremost, invest in the capital and bring in management that knows how to run a paper mill and grow this business for the next 200 years. I'm incredibly optimistic that they can make it happen. Of course, it's on them, not the politicians, to do it. It's on the business people. So, that implies to me that they're going to put pressure on, but still some business, Pixel or somebody else, has to make the decision to stay or come in or whatever. But I think that was a major concession to go through the end of the year on that. So, I mean, we will see what happens on that. John Husted, in his remarks, they were more tempered. He said that there is no guarantee that anything is good going to happen, but they have a chance now. They have a chance.
They do, and because we all know once something closes, it coming back open again is it's probably easier to keep it continuing to run and keep those jobs going than to have something close and then have somebody else come in, reopen the whole situation and all of that. So if they could buy some time, hopefully maybe those jobs could be saved.
A lot wasn't said, direct comments on the record, but it was implied in some of the remarks made by the high-profile speakers. I'll give them credit for this. They arrived early, and they were pressed by union employees for maybe half an hour before the actual press conference started. So they heard from the employees. They didn't hide from them. They didn't get out of their big black cars and just go up and speak and leave.
Sure.
They heard from the employees, and one of the consistent things that the employees said was, just the way the plant was being managed and invested in or whatever, it was going to pot. They weren't replacing things that they needed to replace, and the feeling of the employees was something bad is happening here. They're not taking care of things. They're not doing the kind of things that you do to keep the business running and keep it running right. No investment in capital and that. So that was probably a danger signal, but it was all internal. And then they make the announcement, we're going to close this plant. Anyway, we'll have that story in depth in Wednesday's paper along with some photos. One thing we are glad to report is that the suspected measles cases in Jackson County were not measles.
Thank goodness.
Were not measles. It's really kind of a difficult thing on the notification and reporting. If you're me, the newspaper, the media, or if you're Kevin Aston at the health department, you don't want to hide things. But you don't want to alarm people
Right,
either.
You don't want to create panic either.
Right. At the Vinton County Health Department, where they first announced a suspected measles case at Central Elementary School, and I have not heard from VCHD yet about whether that was a true measles case or not, they got so many shares quickly on their Facebook page. People were very concerned about that.
Sure.
And they were also concerned when our health department here in Jackson County released a similar statement later on, and it came after I had made an inquiry. Because, the word was there might have been a couple cases in Jackson, too, or suspected cases. So Kevin Aston did what I thought he needed to do. He made a news release. He made a Facebook post. And, of course, it went semi-wild as well. Even though it was stated they were suspected cases. And, they're on high alert because of measles outbreaks elsewhere.
Sure.
But in both cases, and they were separate, one at two different healthcare facilities, the people who were sick with something, it did not turn out to be the measles. And so...
But they had symptoms of that, so they have to take that seriously.
They have symptoms, maybe the rash, the telltale rash that you get, when you have the measles. But so what Kevin Aston said on the back end in this follow-up news release, which we already have, by the way, online and will be in the paper tomorrow, what he said was, well, the number one thing is you don't have to worry about measles if you're vaccinated. Kind of like, back to the COVID thing almost.
Yeah.
The need to vaccinate from measles. And the second thing is, don't jump to conclusions that it is measles. Maybe it is, and maybe it isn't. So anyway.
Yeah,
so
worry about it if it's confirmed.
Right, that was good news. A couple other things we want to remind you about real quick. As far as the blue shirt, Jennifer, there is a special event that is underway now at Parks Edge Event Center. It is a special event on the topic of child abuse prevention. This is an awareness thing, and also to celebrate some success stories and success people as well, who's worked, I'm sure, behind the scenes to bring out the importance of child abuse prevention, work to prevent it, whatever. I'll find out when I get there. I'm going to go cover that as soon as I get off TV. But that is from 9 to 11 at the Parks Edge Event Center. It is a partnership event of the Jackson County Job and Family Services Office and the Gallipolis Educational Service Center. So we will see what's going on there. But one of the theme is United Through Kids, Building Hope for Tomorrow. And it is also to reward and recognize people who they call local champions in this effort. So I'm wearing the blue shirt because blue is the color to promote child abuse prevention awareness during the month of April.
You know, it's just such a sticky situation because it's like, I don't know, the fact that we have to even, that there's child abuse out there, but it's so wonderful that people are bringing awareness to it and, you know, obviously working really hard to try to prevent it, but it shouldn't be happening anyway. And the fact that it does is heartbreaking.
Right. Well, yeah, on that, you can create all the awareness you want, but it comes down to then, you know, in homes, offices, wherever this might be happening, it's people coming forward and saying that it's happening.
Yeah.
And then something is done about it to prevent it.
So,
because it's very much, I'm sure, a hidden problem.
I would say you're exactly right.
But it is certainly out there, you know, as we see some of the criminal cases that come by us. Also, want to remind everybody tonight, it's a big night for the Wellston City School District because at a special school board meeting to be held at Wellston High School, it's at 7 p.m. It's going to be a very short meeting. They're going to do one thing, at least one thing, maybe the only thing. They're going to hire a new superintendent. That person will take over sometime in the summer officially, I think. They may come in earlier in transition. That person has not been named, but they will be.
Do you know yet?
I do not know.
If Pete Wilson doesn't know, man.
Well, we've heard rumors, but we don't say rumors.
Yeah,
all right?
okay.
And a lot of times they turn out to be wrong. But anyway, here's the clue. I've not seen a single name surface on social media. That's how well the secret's been kept.
That is
that
wild.
won't keep somebody from speculating incorrectly, but I haven't even seen that.
In this small area, I can't imagine that it's not been leaked.
The only hint I've been given from a reliable source is that the person is male and the person is not already in the Wellston City School District. Those are two pretty good clues right there. We'll see if even that's correct, but I got that from a really good source. But anyway, that's at 7 p.m. tonight. After the school board meeting, I mean, it'll be a quickie thing. The new superintendent will be there. It will be turned into a meet and greet. Once again, that is at Wellston High School at 7 p.m. It's open to the public.
I was going to ask, can people come?
Oh, yes. Okay. I'm sure there'll be lots of school people there because that will be their first chance, you know, to meet the new super. The Vinton County Local Board of Education is also meeting tonight. I tell you that because this is not a regular meeting date for them.
Okay.
They normally meet the third Tuesday of the month. This is the fourth. And it will also be at Vinton County High School. They usually meet at the district office in MacArthur. School board meetings are always open to the public. It's at 6:30 p.m. at Vinton County High School. I have not seen their pre-agenda. The Vinton County School Board is also in the process of a superintendent search. I do not know whether they're hiring a superintendent tonight, but it's possible. All right, it's possible.
Interesting.
They haven't lined up any meet and greet like Wellston has, but they are having a school board meeting. And Rick Brooks, the current superintendent, I believe his contract ending date, when he retires, is the end of May. So that's coming up pretty quick.
Has he been the superintendent for a while?
About 13 years, I think. And he is a Vinton County native. I think he grew up in the Zaleski area. For a while, he taught down here at Jackson. I remember that. And he was a coach. Then he went to Vinton County to teach and coach, became an administrator, and then was promoted to superintendent.
Okay.
And that's what he has done for about 13 years, if I'm remembering correctly.
Interesting.
So tomorrow on the news, Jeremiah Shaver will be covering the meeting tonight at Wellston. So,
well, this is like exciting stuff.
right, unless something really changes, we will hear who the new superintendent is and maybe have a little interview with him that we can show on TV.
That would be wonderful.
We'll just have to see if there is an availability there, but we will shoot for that.
I'm sure.
And we will probably post something quickly to help get that word out tonight, we hope.
Very good.
A lot of stuff going on.
Yes, there always is, and you're always full of it in the best way possible.
Right. Thank you very much. I want to also say the Jackson baseball team, they played some very good teams this past week. They won. They beat Washington Courthouse twice in close games. Then they beat Wheelersburg, state ranked.
Oh,
St.
man.
Trace, state ranked. And then former Kentucky state champions, Greenup County, on Saturday. So Jackson baseball and Coach Josh McGraw are 10-0.
No, I mean,
They're
to
10-0.
not lose in a baseball season so far as saying
Well,
something.
they may lose the next game. I hope I don't jinx them.
Yeah,
But by
let's
the way,
not jinx them.
that next game and their next 4 games will be at Myrtle Beach.
That's
because
right.
They're on their Myrtle Beach trip, as is our girls softball team, who is 11-2. They're both down at Myrtle Beach. The girls will be playing 6 games over 4 days, I think, and the boys will be playing 4 games over 4 days. And then they'll be back here playing again next week. The Wellston girls softball team continues to win. They've only lost 1 game all year, and they played in a tournament last Saturday called Thunder in the Valley down at Sims Valley, some of the better softball teams all around. They played a team named Spring Valley from West Virginia, which is one of the top teams there. They beat that team.
Oh, wow.
And Maddie Childers, who is the catcher for Wellston, very highly ranked. She's probably going to end up playing college softball somewhere. In one of those games, she hit 3 home runs, and it's believed to be maybe a Wellston High School record. Not documented or verified, but possible record.
That's pretty cool stuff.
Right, exactly. So,
what is in the water around here? We've got some really good teams.
The spring sports teams are doing very well. So, there we go.
Absolutely. Well, Pete, get to your event, and we look forward to talking with you tomorrow morning and finding out, of course, about the new Wellston superintendent and some of the other things that you have going on today.
Okay, and there's more. We just don't have time to talk about it all at once.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay, well, thank you very much.
All right. Okay, well, we have another message, and then we will be back with another guest. So stay tuned.
At Vinton County National Bank, we believe in supporting the areas where we live and work. Now, we'd like to honor those who also serve our communities. Our new Community Champions account is especially for first responders, veterans, active military, and anyone employed in the fields of healthcare or education. This account offers rewards, discounts, and other benefits to those who give so much to others. Vinton County National Bank, rewarding those who serve.
Wait, I have to move. We need to figure this out, Adrian. Can we zoom me out a little bit there? Well, hi. We have a special guest here on the studio, and welcome. How are you?
Good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Doing well, thanks. Y'all can have a seat over there. Just chill out for a little bit. Sorry, somebody else just walked in the studio. It's a busy place today.
Yes, I see that.
So your name is Brandy, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and Brandy, can you tell us a little bit about, just tell us a little bit about your story, if you would.
Okay. I'm Brandy Swords, and I'm the owner of Heartwoods. And our main thing is we lost our son-in-law to suicide a couple years ago. And I wanted to turn that pain into something positive and to reach out into the community and create a safe space where we could share stories, have support, and just break the stigma surrounding mental health. And that's how Heartwoods came about.
And I think it's so incredible that you all are taking, obviously, a tragedy and trying to turn it into something good and positive. And I guess that makes it certainly worthwhile for you because so many people, and I did not realize this is suicide is a big thing.
Yes. And it's
it
a huge
affects-
thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, so many people are left behind to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing is like we realize like there needs to be more support, more people talking to each other because it's such a huge thing now. And there are so many people that I talk to that just feel alone. They don't feel like they're heard, no one to talk to, the support in the community. And that was our biggest thing. Like it was a shocking thing to our family and how to cope with, what do you do? How do you feel? Who do you talk to? And it's a hard thing to deal with. It is.
And I guess there's kind of two things going on. Number one, you hope to prevent the suicide from happening, but then yet picking up the pieces if it does with the family and friends and loved ones. So tell us, you have an event coming up. Can we talk about that for a moment?
Yes. We decided we are going to do a free community event, Heartwoods Mental Health Festival. It is on May 3rd in Chillicothe in Yoctangee Park. And when you come to the event, it is 10 to 8. And we are going to have resource tables from different organizations in the community, mental health advocates, that they will pass out information. And we will be having guest speakers that will talk about their story, how they're overcoming things and tips, kind of open the conversation to the community. And it's going to be family friendly. So we're going to have bouncy houses. We're going to have face painting. We're bringing in someone that's going to do crafts for adults and kids. So you can kind of like, if you want to express yourself through painting, that's what it's going to be. And we're going to have like line dancing, belly dancing, music. We have a DJ Hazel coming.
Okay.
Lori Graves is going to be doing a little comedy show, and
Fun.
she's going to be, hosting like our pageant. We have queens that need to be crowned, so she's going to be doing that. Yeah, so it's kind of an event where everybody can come together and kind of have fun, support each other. We will have a memory tree that people are welcome to put ribbons on the tree, and we will be putting out a schedule soon on our Facebook page, Heartwoods Mental Health Festival.
That is awesome. And, I was just sitting here thinking, number one, I can't believe that's almost May. Like,
yes,
this
I
is
know.
crazy.
Yes, that's what I said. I'm like, where did the time go? Yeah.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. But I guess it's because we had a month of 14 inches of snow on the ground. So, that was
in Ohio. Yeah.
we'll pass. Don't want to ever have that again. But no, I was sitting here thinking about the people that maybe need help or aren't sure where to turn, or have family members that they know need help, but they are not sure how to help them. I feel like this would be a perfect opportunity for you to get there and meet other individuals, A, that may be going through the same thing, but B, can also help you out.
Yes, and that's our purpose, because we want everybody to come together and have a safe space where you can share your stories. And it's not about judgment. It's about us all being humans and people coming together, because we all struggle. It's just a lot of times we just don't want to show people that we struggle, and we hide it. And that's kind of why I want to break that stigma, because it doesn't matter how much money you have, where you work, where you live, where you go. We all have the same struggles. And that's my point. I want to bring more awareness to the community for that.
We talk about this, we have talked about this several times here on the show where, if something's wrong with your heart, you go and you go to the doctor and you get it fixed, and you're not ashamed of that. Or if something's wrong with your blood pressure or whatever, you seek help and you fix it. So why is mental health such, I don't know, why is there's such a stigma against talking about it, or why are people so afraid to talk about it?
And that is the biggest thing. I think it's about shame. A lot of people feel shame, and a lot of people are like, well, I just feel like my problems are so small that people are not going to care. And they're like, and then the shame, they're like, what if I am a caregiver and people are going to be like, doubt my abilities to take care of somebody? Or if I'm a teacher, are they going to worry that I'm going to have a mental breakdown in school? So I think that's the biggest thing. People are just worried how they're going to look, how people are going to treat them. So they are not willing to come out and talk about it. A lot of people come to me in private and tell me their stories, and they're like, we're too scared to step up. We're too scared to speak out because we don't want to be judged. And that's the biggest thing. Yeah.
And isn't that sad? How does that make you feel when you hear that?
It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart because I'm like, you know what? If we had more conversations about this, because growing up, we didn't have conversations about this.
No.
I didn't talk about this with my parents. Like, we just never dealt with this. And now I realize how much that kind of hurt me and people around me, because if we could have talked more and addressed the issues, then maybe there wouldn't have been so much trauma. Maybe things would have changed if we had an open conversation and environment. People could have kind of talked more. But I didn't grow up that way either. So now it breaks my heart because I really tell people, I'm like, hey, you don't have to go in the public and talk, but you need to find someone to talk to. If that's a friend, if that's someone outside the family or resources, or you need somebody to vent, because we all need to vent. Like, I'm the one, I'm like, hey, let me go sit with my Garfield in my, plant room and whatever you got to do. I think therapy's in every form,
Sure. And to me, it's so funny. I think you're exactly right. Whatever form works for you. Like, I was noticing the other day, one of our local greenhouses opened yesterday, and I thought, if you're feeling down, does anyone ever look at flowers and get depressed or like feel bad about that? Like, drive out to somewhere beautiful or do something to make yourself feel a little bit better. Something that brings a smile to your face.
Yes. And that is the biggest thing. Like, I'm the person like to be out in nature. So if I go out in nature and be barefoot and touch the grass and be grounded, I'm like, that's my biggest thing. Just to breathe and like, oh, okay. The world's not so bad. It's okay. Look at this beautiful nature. So it's got to be okay.
No, and I think you're exactly right about that. And sometimes it's just the most simple things that help us out. What advice, I guess, would you give to somebody that maybe, God forbid something happened to to a family member like you went through, but what advice would you give to somebody who's thinking that they're concerned about a family member or a loved one or a friend or whatever?
A lot of times I tell people to reach out with like the 988 line or 988. I say to reach out there because it's easier sometimes to talk to strangers than it is to family. So I tell a lot of people, like, hey, write in your journal. Reach out to a stranger, because I feel like you are not worried about them judging you because they don't know you.
Yes.
So I always recommend people, I'm like, hey, reach out. Reach out online. If you don't want to do face-to-face, there are so many support groups on Facebook. Reach out to them and just talk in there, and people will support you that way until you feel confident enough to go talk to other people. Keep reaching out, keep talking, keep drawing, keep writing. Keep moving forward. Is when you're feeling really down, reach out on Facebook, because everybody does social media. So I feel like that's good and bad. It's good and bad because sometimes it's bad. But I think that is the easiest resource because you can talk to anybody any time of the day. So I think reaching out on Facebook is the first key until you're willing to reach out to other people. And the biggest thing is I tell everybody, check in with people. You really don't know what's going on with someone. You don't know if they're having a bad day, good day, because we all are very good pretenders. We can all put that mask on, I say, and pretend, oh, the world's so good. And then you go home and you're so depressed, anxiety. So I feel like we should always check in and kind of be real conversations, and even do small gestures. Even if you would show up and say, hey, I just dropped like a pop off at your house, or just one flower or a note. People love that. And then sometimes it helps them come out to think maybe they're safe to speak or reach out. You got to kind of open that door a little bit.
And I've been trying to consciously do that because, most of us can text, right? Or send a Facebook message, as you said, or whatever. And I've been trying to do that. Like, if maybe I haven't seen a friend in a while, and I'm driving down the road or I'm watching TV and they pop into my mind, I've been picking up my phone and just saying, hey, thinking about you today.
Yeah.
And if someone sent me a message like that, it would mean so much. So we should all be doing that, like, all the time.
I agree. It's the little things. That's what people don't realize. You don't have to make this big, huge gesture. It's the small things. I've had people just message me, say, hey, hope you have a good day. And that was the world to me because I was having a rough day. And I'm like, oh, someone's thinking of me. It's small things. And I feel like that's what we all need. We all need to be heard and seen and just feel like we are important like everybody else. Yeah.
No, and you're exactly right. And I think, I don't know, I just wanted to say that because I think it's very important. It's the little things that do mean a lot to people. So tell us what you're hoping to accomplish with Heartwoods. Like, what is your main goal?
My main goal is, when I started this, is I really want to open a community center here in Chillicothe. Is my goal. Yeah, so that's my long-term goal because I want a community center where we can all come together. You come to the center and we will have a place where the kids can play, for the adults to take a timeout, I call, where they can go to that sensory room where they can go talk to someone and just take a moment because we all need that. And then in there, I have a lot of people I know that will have offices set up in there. So if you need to talk to a life coach, if you need to talk to a therapist. So I want the environment to have everything. And then we're going to have resources for mental health that if you need a cozy blanket, if that's going to help you, it's going to be there. So that's my main goal for this, is just keep building and building and bringing more to our community for support. Because I know my family needed that. I needed to go somewhere if I was overwhelmed with kids, and I needed to go somewhere and just sit and just take a breather and sit with plants or a giant beanbag or whatever. So that is my envision for Chillicothe. That's what I really want to do.
So what needs to happen for your goal to become a reality?
For that, first of all, us trying to find the right space. We have looked, and I knew I could not do this alone. So I ended up getting 10 board members to come on, and they have been so useful in just helping us reach out in the community, building relationships with sponsors and people that are going to stand behind me and support me. So that's the biggest thing we need to do, is find the space, and we're working on the funding. So that's the big thing, is just kind of doing all the little stuff to get there.
I gotcha. Well, I'll tell you what, if anybody has a really nice space out there that they would like to provide some really good services, get hold of this lady because she's doing great. So let's talk about your event one more time before we let you get out of here.
Okay. So it is May 3rd in Yoctangee Park, Yoctangee. And we will have, like I said, we are going to have free resources. We have like 11 resource tables from everybody in the community, all mental health advocates, suicide awareness. They will be passed out resources, information, someone to talk to. We will have guest speakers that will talk about their life experience, what they are going through, how they're coping, what they're doing. And we will have everything for like the kids too. Bouncy houses, face painting. And then we want to have some fun. So we got line dancing and we have belly dancing and we have, So I was like, we need to make this fun. So we need to be like, hey, there's bad times, there's good times, but why can we not laugh in these situations and kind of have fun? Laughter is a big thing. And we're going to have a memory tree. So if you want to come down and put a ribbon on that for somebody that you want to remember, we're going to have that. We're going to have crafts for all ages, adults. We are going to have a scavenger hunt. We will have morning yoga for people who just want to come and chill a little bit. DJ Hazel will be there. We have the selfie mirror will be there, so you can take plenty of selfies. And Lori Graves will be doing a comedy show, and she will be crowning our queens. So there's so much information. Yeah.
You know,
Oh, she
and-
is.
She is really. And it's what a wonderful day that you're putting together. And I know it's no small feat. These things don't magically happen. So thank you for, what you're doing, taking the time, taking the money, taking all of the things that it takes to put this on, because it certainly is no small feat. So you're
Yeah.
awesome. And is there anything else you'd like to tell our viewers before we let you get out of here?
The biggest thing is I always tell everybody, hey, reach out and start them little conversations. Just let people know that you care. Any small gesture matters, and kindness is free. That's the biggest thing.
I love that. Thank you for saying that. That is so true. All right. Well, Brandy, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. And we'd love to have you back on anytime. Give us some updates on how your organization's going.
Yes.
And if you get that center in the works, let us know.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Of course. All right. Well, we will have another message or two, and then we'll be back with some friends from Holzer.
From breaking news to heartwarming stories, a telegram is your ticket to the latest buzz in town.
Read your daily dose of local headlines, sports, and entertainment and more in hand and on paper.
Get a print and digital subscription for only $7.95 per month. Delivered fresh every Wednesday and Saturday.
Visit thetelegramnews.com or call 740-286-3023 today.
Don't just read the news, be a part of it.
Saturday, August 16th is Southern Rock Woodstock in the Gallipolis Fairgrounds. This event will feature 3 decades of original artists and legends, such as Leonard Skinner, 38 Special, and Molly Hatchet. In light of this event, Total Media will be giving away 4 VIP tickets. For a chance to win these exclusive passes, comment your favorite Southern Rock song, and our staff will vote on which one is the best. Good luck, and may the best man rock out.
Did you know Jackson is home to a locally owned and operated full-service print shop? Zip Printing covers all your print, signage, and design needs. From business cards, booklets, and posters to yard signs, banners, screen-printed t-shirts, oversized signage, and more. We can help you or your business advertise and look good doing it. Zip Printing also offers logo design. Allow us to assist you in building or elevating your brand today. Zip Printing is located in the Stockmeister Plaza at 708 East Main Street in Jackson, Ohio. So stop in or give us a call at 740-286-3023.
All right, and we are back with our friends from Holzer, and of course, stopping by to talk about something really interesting coming up. When is that?
It's going to be this Saturday from 10 to noon, and we're going to be divided up in 3 locations across Gallia, Jackson, and Meigs.
Okay, well, very good. And we, well, first off, introduce yourselves. Tell everybody what you do at Holzer.
My name is Kristen, and I do the Meds to Beds program at Holzer. I help patients who are being discharged from the hospital make sure they have their meds before they go home, and help with anything that they need. And I've worked at Holzer for 15 years with the pharmacy. So,
well, very good.
So my name is Nick Hopkins. I'm the outpatient director of pharmacy services. So all of the retail pharmacies, the specialty pharmacy, and all of our clinical pharmacists that round in the clinic offices with providers all kind of fall under my downline. And in the community, I manage the drug take back program, and I work with Jackson Spark, Gallia Hope, and the Meigs AHA. And I've been with Holzer this round for 10 years and a little bit in the early 2000s as a technician. So.
Well, very good. Well, thank you for doing what you do, taking care of all of our local people. That's amazing. So Drug Take Back Day is what I was trying to say. Tell us why that's important. I mean, because, you don't think about what to do with stuff, and we all have stuff lying around the house that shouldn't be there probably.
Yep, you're correct. So the DEA started Drug Take Back Day in like 2010. Holzer got involved around 2016, I believe, was their first event in Gallipolis.
Okay.
And it's kind of grown from there. So the idea behind it is multifold a little bit. That one of those sides being to get rid of drugs that are in the house that could potentially get to the wrong person or be expired and cause some harm to the person taking them. The other side of that is when you do dispose of your medications, you don't just want to flush them down a toilet or throw them in your trash can or something like that, because they can either, again, end up in the wrong hands, or even if they go down the toilet, you're putting potentially dangerous drugs into the water supply.
Correct.
And causing harm to either plants, animals, or other humans that could get that water down the line. So.
And let's think about that. You know, we had the health department on yesterday. We were talking about septic systems. So, for the love of God, do not flush your stuff down the toilet if you have a septic system too, because it's just out in your yard, you know, buried in the ground, then seeping into whatever. So, I think a lot of us assume that when you're talking about drug take-back days, that you're talking about narcotics, or you know, the stuff the pain pills, or you know, the harsh stuff, but that's not necessarily true.
No, that's part of it. I mean, I think that was originally part of the intent, was to try to get some of these drugs of abuse off of the streets, and make it harder to just accidentally fall into these drugs. But what it's grown into is, I mean, there's a lot of people that are maybe changing blood pressure pills, or maybe they were on insulin and they're no longer on insulin because they've gotten their diabetes under control and they don't have a way to get rid of those things as they expire. You know, some people, as much as they probably shouldn't, don't finish an antibiotic, or maybe they don't finish their cough syrup.
Listen, we're all guilty of that. We've all done it.
I do the same myself from time to time, but you know, there's always going to be those 2 or 3 tablets of something laying around that you just don't know what to get rid of, or maybe a bottle of eye drops. You know, you get pink eye, or you get some conjunctivitis of some sort. You clear it up, and then you got half a bottle of drops you don't know what to do with. So that's what this is built to do, is so you don't end up with that, you know, 20-year-old bottle of medication, or you know, your child doesn't, you know, find it and think it's candy or something like that.
Sure. So. Yeah, and I would venture to say that there's not one of us in this room or anybody listening to this show today that does not have something in their house that they're not taking, or that is expired, like probably 10 years old or something.
I had a family member ask me what to do with an old bottle of a medication that they had, and if it was still good. And I said, well, what year is it from? And it was from like 1998. Like they just had it laying around. I said, we need to get rid of that. Like that.
And we even cover pet medications as well. So over-the-counter things, you know, bottles of Tums, or you know, over-the-counter Tylenol, things like that you don't think of as maybe necessarily a drug. But you know, there's pet medications that come from the vets. There's even testing supplies, test strips, lancets, syringes from using insulin, or maybe a testosterone injection, something like that. We can dispose of all of those things as well.
Yeah, and you know, in the pet thing, I'm glad you brought that up. I had something happen at my house one time, and God knows, everybody knows I love animals. So, but no, and I had no idea that this was a thing, and the vet ended up having to get involved. I had a horse that was sick, and I was giving him some medicine in his feed, and our dog, and it should not have affected her at all. It was just like an antibiotic situation. But she went out to the barn, got in, was licking the molasses, of course, you know, it tastes good, right? Mm-hmm. And immediately got deathly sick, like couldn't even walk herself back to the house just from that little bit of whatever. And I started thinking to myself at that time, oh my gosh, you know, this is how important it is to keep medicine out of the hands or mouths of especially kids, or maybe elderly adults that maybe have dementia or something of that nature too, that you know, maybe don't know better, or we're all guilty of being curious, right? So
yeah, we get a lot of people that come by that are caretakers of people that have either passed away, or maybe they've gotten moved to a nursing facility or something like that. They don't know how to get rid of those medications.
Sure.
So that's a lot of what we get on top of, you know, those dosage changes and stopped meds and things like that. But it's always nice to have that resource to get rid of large quantities of things as either people pass on or maybe move to a facility. But we also want to put out there that the sheriff's departments in these counties have stuff year round, so you don't have to wait for our events. I know we usually run in April and October every year.
Okay.
But the sheriff's department and all three of the counties we're in also have drug destruction boxes that are there year round. So you can just stop by the department and tell them you have some things to get rid of. They'll log it, they'll turn it in, and they'll dispose it for you as well.
Really? I did not know about that. So that's something you could take advantage of. You know, and I was sitting here thinking, what if you find something that is maybe of a questionable or illegal situation? I mean, can you still turn this in, or?
The Drug Take Back Day, the way we run it is completely anonymous. We don't log names of anybody that drops anything off. So
Okay.
if there's anything that maybe it's something you found in your child's bedroom, or then you don't know exactly what it is or anything like
Yeah,
that.
because I could see that happening.
I always advocate, if it's something that you think might be harmful, you could always contact law enforcement, something like that. But if you're just wanting to straight dispose of it,
Okay.
you can come to one of these events. It goes into a container with no recording of any information, and we dispose of it at the end of the day. So
Okay. Or maybe you've been into something in your past, but you aren't now, and you want to rid of it. So these are perfect opportunities for things like that. I'm trying to think outside the box of, who could utilize your situation. So what are the details of this Drug Take Back Day?
So it's going to be this Saturday. It's going to be 10 to noon at all the locations. Kristen, do you want to?
Yeah, let's talk about where all those locations are. And she's so prepared. She wrote everything down.
I wrote notes because I was
Love
nervous. It's going to be at Powell's Food Fair in Pomeroy. It'll be at Park's Edge here in Jackson on Main Street.
Okay.
And then the one in Gallipolis is at the Thaler Building on 160. It's kind of off to the side of the Holzer campus over by Fruth.
Okay. So that's by the hospital, though.
Yes. And it's from 10 to 2, and I'm going to work the Gallipolis one, so if anybody wants to stop by there, I'll be at that one. We've done it several times in the past, and it is moved. It was at the Cancer Center the previous years, so I just wanted to point that out because...
Be across the street.
Yes, it's not at the Cancer Center. This year they're having an event there and everything, so it did move over to the Thaler Building this year.
Yeah, and if you're in the general area of any of these events, there should be some yard signs by the road that kind of point you in the direction of where you need to go. A lot of times we'll try to have some canopies up just in case of bad weather and things like that, but it is... it's a really easy thing. If you have your meds together, a lot of people bring them either in a small box or a grocery sack or something like that, and we just drop them straight into the container. It's almost a drive-through, a drive-up situation.
That's what I was going to say. What if, maybe you can't have trouble walking or something like that?
We go right up to the car
we'll
lot. They don't even get out of their car.
Yeah, we've had people just have them in their trunk, and they'll pop the trunk, and they say, hey, can you just grab the bag? It's in the bag. And, we have resources available, some of the at-home destruction kits for small amounts of medication. And I can talk about those a little bit as well. But we also have flyers and things for all the groups and organizations that help take part in this event as well. But the destruction kits, the ones we use are called Deterra kits.
I didn't know that was a thing.
It's kind of puts you in the mind of like a kitty litter type product in a bag. You put your medication in, and of course the bag only holds so much medication, liquid or tablet. And then you add water and you kind of seal it up and you shake it for a little bit or just let it set to where it will deactivate the drugs, and then you can take that bag and throw it into the trash can.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds like a good idea also.
Yeah, it's another good option for, I always recommend it for people who have, small amounts of medication like that unfinished antibiotic, or, maybe somebody that's on pain medication, just to kind of have it. That way, when the procedure's done, you want to get rid of those last 4 or 5 tablets, dump them in there and deactivate it, and you're good to go.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you have a surgery, and I know I had a knee surgery, and I took like 1 day of the pain medicine, and then I just went to Advil or whatever. So there they were lying around. In fact, speaking of 1998 or whatever, it's probably still in my nightstand, and it's probably from about that time. So I just now remembered that. But
yeah, she was like, I'm like, it's definitely not going to help you. Like it's not even a little expired. It's way
It's
expired.
a lot expired. So, well, very good. And then also, I know I overheard you talking on Matt's show about the sharps and things like that. Can we talk about that for a moment?
So we keep a separate container that we get rid of sharps in. So that would be anything like a pin tip from an insulin pen, the syringes you use for insulin, lancets for pricking your finger for diabetes testing, things like that. Anything that you would normally need to get rid of in a sharps container. We've had people kind of come in and just drop their small sharps container because they don't know how to get rid of their whole container, or if something happens and they happen to have them in a milk jug or a laundry detergent bottle, or even I've seen them come in like a baggie. I don't recommend that because they are a little dangerous that way.
Yeah.
But if you just need a way to get rid of them, and I've even had people drop off ones that were not used, that maybe they were on insulin and they had a box or two, they come off the insulin, they don't need it anymore, and they just don't want them laying around the house. So
Makes sense.
Any and everything like that in a sharps environment, we'll put it in a biohazard container and we'll ship them off for destruction. So.
Okay, very good. And if you are doing that at your house, or maybe you are taking a shot once a week or daily or whatever, what are you supposed to, technically, are you supposed to not put it in the trash? I don't know.
Yeah, you don't want to put them directly in the trash just because there is the danger of it poking through the bag and contaminating something.
Okay.
But there are there's sharp containers you can get at any pharmacy, Walmart, CVS, Holzer.
Gotcha.
Usually they're somewhere in the ballpark of, depending on the size and the what all they contain. I've seen them as cheap as around $10 and then somewhere between $10 and $25, probably depending on the size. Now, if you can't get that or you need it in a pinch, the best option I would give somebody, I would not do a milk jug because the plastic on a milk jug is really thin. I would aim for something a little bit bigger, like maybe a laundry detergent, like a Tide container or something like that.
I'm thinking like a Folgers coffee thing or
something. Coffee cans can work. The lid on them comes off a little easy.
Okay.
So if I was going to do a coffee can, I would make that something that you planned on taking personally and disposing of, rather than just throwing it in the trash.
Okay. Something that twists on would be a better
Ideally, yeah.
situation. Okay, I gotcha. That makes total sense. All right. Well, what else can we talk about today? We have a few minutes left.
Well, I just...
She wrote it down, so she's going to remember.
I did. I thought when I was reading up on this, I thought it was really cool. I came across since it started in 2010, they've taken back 19.2 million pounds of unused or expired meds since 2010. So I thought that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of stuff that's not out and about.
Yeah.
That doesn't need to be.
And they've done this nationally through, like I said, it was started by the DEA. Nationally, and there's been 500-600 spots nationally throughout the states where they collect these places. But here locally, we've been somewhere in the ballpark of about 1,500 pounds since 2016, and we started with one location in Gallipolis and have grown that into Jackson, Gallipolis, and Meigs. So
and you think that pills don't really, or medicine doesn't weigh a lot, so that's a lot of stuff that you all have taken back.
Yep,
so good for you.
Collected a good amount of things. Like I said, not everything was a narcotic, but it was just something that could be dangerous in any situation. So.
Yeah, and again, you don't know. I know my dog story was probably not the best one, but she was obviously very allergic to that. And, if a child, God forbid, or somebody gets hold of something that you don't know whether they're, allergic or something, it shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
So.
And I would like to say that we've had a lot of community involvement with these groups in these days.
Yeah.
So, I don't want it to come across that it's just a Holzer event. We've had law enforcement in every one of our counties. So here in Jackson, we've had county sheriffs.
Sure, you always see them out and about there.
We use them. A lot of times they're the ones who destroy our drugs for us.
Okay.
We've had Gallia sheriffs, Meg sheriffs. We've had counseling organizations, recovery homes, the Adams Board. We've even had in Jackson the real estate companies kind of chip in just to be involved. We've had the health departments, and they always bring a lot of really good information about any programs they have going on in that area. So anybody that wants to be involved going forward, we welcome volunteers. We always like people to be involved and just bring awareness to the event as well. But it's always nice to see people show up at 10 o'clock and be like, hey, I'm here to help.
I'm here to help. Yeah, this is a good thing. Well, awesome. Well, you too, thank you so much for stopping by. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
Well, of course, it's our pleasure. We love to have our friends from Holzer here. You guys are a blast. And I think why I enjoy talking with folks from Holzer so much is I learn something every time somebody comes on. And also, there's so many services that you all offer that I feel like a lot of people might not know about. And so that's a good thing that we're getting that community awareness out there.
Absolutely.
Very good. All right, well, we have to get out of here for the day. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Weather's actually supposed to be decent for the next couple of days, so we'll take advantage of that. And we will be right back here tomorrow with, I think, another friend from Holzer. So we'll be letting you know what she has to say. So have a great day, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Hello, friends at the Marquee. It's Stevie here. We're looking forward to a great show on Saturday night, bringing you New Frontiers Journey Tribute. We're going to sing all the great Journey songs from your childhood, have a great time. You know, all these great songs. That's just looking forward to this. Ann Wilson.
Ann Wilson, thank you, Ann Wilson.
And Nancy. Where'd you guys come from?
Well, you know, it's not going to be an entire night of Journey. We've got some hard lineup here too.
Really?
Yeah, we've got like Barracuda,
Oh, yeah.
Alone, all the good stuff that you're going to remember.
So great. It's going to be a great show. We hope y'all are going to come and sing with us
And
Saturday
us.
night.
And us.
And them. Saturday night, the Marquee Theater. Please be there.
Be there.